What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I am Dan, the part-time Avenger. That is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we've taken on another challenge from the machine and sat through the new Netflix show, drama, reenactment of his life, but with different people playing his family. Whatever it is, Netflix has freed Bert.
Free Bert on Netflix, the newer comedy series starring friend of the podcast, Bert Kreischer, comedian, if you will. But
Comedian.
yeah, so what is your origin with the machine?
I learned of the machine, as many others did, from some old stand-up specials that circulated on the YouTube. I enjoy his stand-up. I enjoy his podcasts. I think he's an entertaining dude. I've come to enjoy his wife as well, who appears on some of his podcasts or in his social media. But yeah, no, I'm a fan of the machine. And anybody who's listened to our review of the movie with same name would remember that I think both of us have a healthy enjoyment for the machine. But I didn't know what this show was before sitting down to watch it. I thought it was a special when he was like, we're going to release a thing. And I'm like, sweet. Tom Segura released a new special. Bert's got a new special. Let's go. Not a comedy special. Not a comedy special. What about you? What's your origin with Free Bert?
Facebook. Facebook was where I got introduced to the machine. I thought his stand-up and story was hilarious. Started seeing him more on some of the podcasts, like on Rogan, and then he was on Your Mom's House a few times. I was like, this guy's pretty funny. I just think it's great when he speaks like Miss Piggy. It's ridiculous.
You mean when he's drinking 64 ounces of Kool-Aid in the morning?
Yes.
Or when he gets a Hitler teacup?
So funny. So funny. And he's definitely racist, right? He's definitely racist.
No, I think he's just too nice to not. It's just really funny.
So for those that don't know that little joke, Tom Segura basically would say Bert's racist all the time, and then he'd get so much shit. And so, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my origin with him. I enjoy his catalog. When we did The Machine, the movie review podcast, check it out if you haven't. It was the most listened to and watched podcast at the time when we released that. So for the show, and probably for the universe as well.
I mean, we did take our shirts off.
Yeah, it was. We thought we were going to get taken off of YouTube, but then they were just like, let's just keep it on. It's educational.
It was gratuitous nipples.
What you should not do to yourself on YouTube. That's why it was educational. But yeah, that's my story with it. I had no idea this was even coming out because I've kind of strayed away from his podcast and Two Bears, except for when Chris DiStefano and Stavros were on it, and I would listen to that. But yeah, I had no idea this was coming out. I knew I was going to watch it just because it's Bert Kreischer. But yeah, that's kind of where we were. And when I can't remember if you said to do Free Bert for the podcast. I think it was, and I had already watched it. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm game. Let's do this thing. But did you have any expectations, like knowing that it was coming out, and then the second that you saw that it wasn't a stand-up special, what were your expectations?
I expected it to produce a good episode of our podcast, right? Because if anybody watched Segura's show, which was called
Bad Thoughts,
you'll know that was off the wall. And if anybody watched the other Bert show, like the Cabin, you know that was kind of awkward. So I'm like, maybe it's more the Cabin than Bad Thoughts, and we'll get something good. But either way, we're going to come with some kind of opinion, and Bert's funny. So like, maybe it won't be a disappointment like everything we did in 2025.
Not everything in 2025 was a disappointment. The episodes where we did not talk about movies were pretty good because every movie we watched in 2025 sucked major balls for the.
So bad. It's a bad year. I hope it's February now. It'll get better. Maybe it's March. It's close.
Deadpool and Wolverine, was that 2025? But that wasn't so bad. That was great. That was fucking fantastic. But yeah, I'll say that was like the lone bright spot in 2025 for movies. At least the ones that we were like, whoa. And Superman as well. But I don't know. I can't remember if Superman was definitely the face melter award, but I don't know what Deadpool and Wolverine was. So, but
the prettiest abs by a 60-year-old man?
Yeah, perhaps. But regardless, before we dive right into Free Bert, let's get your version of the plot.
Bert is terrible at socializing with rich people, and Bert tries to fit in and gets fully pwned by the rich folks. This is basically Bert trying to do Seinfeld, but it's about something.
Ooh. Not an accurate plot at all. Not one. Usually you're at least somewhat in the ballpark. Not on this one, my friend. Not on this one. So did you watch this? Did you really watch
did.
This?
I watched what I could take of it. This, for me, was a very bite-sized chunk watch for me. Not like 5 minutes, but like I could not binge this. And usually I accept everything the machine does. But Bert playing himself with a less funny version of Leanne, it didn't work for me at first. It was hard for me to get into it. And then, like, see Bert as somebody who's very authentically himself. So to see, and this is spoilers, and I'm probably getting too deep into plot, but to see Bert, like, be or try to be somebody he's not was very, like, off-brand for me. And his efforts at trying to humanize him to make us one of us. And I was like, but you're not one of us. You're the machine. So, yeah.
That's so weird that you say that, because I do not think that he was not himself at all. I think he was himself the entire way through, even when he was, in quotes, faking it with the other people. I don't know. I think that because Bert's kind of a pushover sometimes, and I think that's what it was with those guys. He was kind of a pushover. But in terms of Leanne, I thought this Leanne was a million times better than the Leanne in the machine. 100% more accurate. The voice was on point. She wasn't as strong-willed as Leanne in real life, but I don't know, man. Right off
I
the
also
bat.
think Leanne in real life is funnier, and their timing in real life is, I mean, they're real people. It's not timing. It's just how they banter. And Bert and Leanne's banter is solid. It is marriage goals funny, right? And it just, like, it's hard to go from taking in authenticity to then looking at the UPN version of it. And, like, I thought the person who, like, he tried to make his wife, like, actually like his wife in this show, and then his kids were caricatures of themselves. Loved the Isla in this, which was basically like a kid with a lighter wanting to start a fire. And I couldn't get, the Leanne threw me off constantly. And that was, I think, one of the things. Like, Bert acting is Bert. Like, he plays himself. He does it well. Just the same way that Jerry Seinfeld played himself. Seinfeld has said many times, I'm not an actor. And I think Bert would say the same thing. He just is Bert. Which I was totally okay with. I'm here for the Bert. But it's like green screen AI Bert almost. It's not like what we get on a regular basis. It's like the new voice of Kermit the Frog as opposed to Jim Henson. It's just a little off to my ear.
Completely 100% disagree with you. I think he's the most authentic version of himself, and it's him kind of realizing how freaking ridiculous it is in all of these semi-true stories that this whole show is based off of. Because a lot of this stuff is if you've listened to the podcast before with him on there, he'll talk similar stories about things that are happening in this show. So yeah, that's just that's kind of where my take of it was. But what did you think? So you said that you couldn't really watch and binge this all the way through. So, like, what were your thoughts on, like, the pacing? Like, what did you get through, like, all in one sitting?
Each episode felt longer than the 27 minutes that they were, to me at least. And, like, starting from the first episode, I got very much the feeling it like the beginning, like I've said like a lot, like the beginning of the first episode where he goes on a rant about the shitty parents at the beginning and puts it in his act. That's the Bert that I expect. Then when he backpedaled, that gave me the same feeling you get when Jon Favreau keeps calling that girl back in Swingers over and over and over again to leave a message. It was kind of painful for me. that Bert was going back on his Bertness and trying to wear a button-down shirt and not, like, if I see the machine somewhere, he better be either wearing a cutoff or no shirt and some goddamn flip-flops.
Okay.
I mean, isn't that what they make everybody in Florida wear?
So did you answer the question? How much of it did you get through in one sitting?
I had to take it an episode at a time, if that. It was not hard for me to get distracted away from this, which is odd compared to how I've watched some other things recently, like been locked in there. Like this was not like I wasn't running after watching the first episode. I wasn't sprinting back to it. I came back to it because I knew I had to talk to you about it. I don't know.
I watched this. So I watched this on an airplane.
On an air. Okay. So you were locked in a metal tube in order to get through this.
Watched this on an airplane, almost finished the entire series on that airplane, but then the airplane ride was over. So I had to continue watching it on the way back on my work trip. So yeah, I thought that this was solid. It was really quick for the episodes. They ran through pretty smooth. I had no issues with the pacing at all. I thought everything was actually kind of pretty well done. I was thinking like, oh, wow, this is actually a TV show, not just a bunch of skits with Bert in them trying to make it into a TV show, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. And I'm going to translate what you're trying to say here. It sounds like you're saying, compared to Bad Thoughts, this was actually a somewhat well-produced television show.
Bad Thoughts was great. Bad Thoughts was so damn good for how off-the-wall bananas it was. And it also showed...
It was bananas.
Tom Segura's just craziness. And I was totally down. If I were to pick between the two, I'll say that at the end. So that way I won't give anything away. But pacing I thought was good. The humor, all the actors in it and the people playing his family I thought were great. I thought they were very good caricatures of who they were. Like I said, Leanne, the actress who played Leanne, I thought was great and accurate. Unlike The Machine, I was thinking like, yeah, his family's not exactly really like his family. Like, sort of. Georgia was sort of Georgia to a certain point. But then it goes off the wall where he goes off to Russia and it's just shenanigans the entire way. So I don't know if that is telling my sign of what I thought about the series as a whole. But when you talk about the show, you cannot dispute the fact that the characters and the supporting characters were pretty darn strong, but also likable and hateable at the same exact time. Like, I thought that was like the magic of the cast right there was the three other bros of his little friend group, the inner circle, if you will. But what did you think about the group of dad friends?
I didn't mind them. I like some of those actors. One of them I thought was somebody else for a minute when I had to IMDb it because I thought it was like the guy from That's My Boy for a minute. Like, what's his name? Milos or Milos? I always mess his name up.
Peter Petrelli from Heroes.
Yeah, there you go. I thought that was him, and I was like, oh, he's doing a great, and then it wasn't. But in general, I didn't have a problem with them. Like, they were not throwing me off much, but I agree with the like to hate them aspect of it. Like they I think their characters lacked a certain edge that we get from, and I may be biased. I'm definitely biased, but like we both grew up with shows with comedians in the lead role and just strong casts around them, right? Seinfeld. Everybody loves that asshole Raymond.
I'll say that show is so damn overrated. I never got into that show at all.
I didn't get into it. It had a hell of a cast, right? The King of Queens, even though I'm not a Kevin James fan, that cast is so strong. Home Improvement,
Cast sucked. That cast sucked so much ass. What are you talking about?
Home Improvement or?
God, Home Improvement is the worst.
Patricia Richardson is great. And Richard Karn, are you kidding me? Who doesn't love some Al Borland?
Sure, but who's the main character of that show? Tim, right? And his shithead kids. And didn't like any of them. The wife, fine, sure. Patricia, sure, she's great. Richard Karn, great. Wilson was great as well. But like the best, like when you say like great casts when three of the castmates are children actors that can't act their way out of a paper bag. And you got Tim Allen, which, entertaining as he is, Buzz Lightyear, whatever, that just wasn't my show. But anyways, go on with your point.
I'm just saying, like, they put exceptional supporting actors, kids be damned, right, around these comedians that couldn't really act. If you look at Seinfeld, how many Oscar winners or Emmy winners had bit parts on Seinfeld? Like, the list is huge.
Bit parts, though. Bit parts, not like regulars, bit parts.
But all the regulars on Seinfeld were amazing.
Sure.
I'm just saying, when I look at a show that is written and not improvised with a comedian in the lead, that's what I measure against.
Okay.
The sea was angry.
So nothing
that day,
like that. Like, there's different TV shows out there. Nothing like Free Bert is what is what you're saying. All these shows that are nothing like it, that's what you're measuring it to.
What do you mean it's nothing like it?
Absolutely nothing like it.
Seinfeld is just telling stories of things that happened in daily life. So is Free Bert. It's him putting together a story based on some shit he made up. Everybody Loves Raymond. Same thing. Things that happened in the family dynamic. Home Improvement. I just like the grunting.
There's no story. There's no story in Home Improvement, like, except for those special episodes where, oh God, what was it? Was it the special episode of Home Improvement where
that was right before the Dana Carvey show?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I don't know what happened in the episode.
The Barks Diet Root Beer episode or whatever it was. Like,
the Barks Diet Root Beer Dana Carvey Hour. Yeah.
If you have not,
if you don't know what that is, Google it. Google it. It's the best transition in television history.
So great. It's so great. But yeah. Anyways, like, it's funny because that cast, I think the cast is really damn good. Because, and I'll break it down, just kind of like the overall.
Break it down, brother.
So you got Bert, right? And he's being himself, but he's caught in this strange situation to where it's like, we moved here for our kids and I messed up. And now my kids are getting the brunt of everything. And these parents hate us. And so I have to do something to make up for this. And so isn't that kind of what Bert does, is like, he just kind of has to make up for stuff all the time because he's not very present. He's very self-indulgent and he's just really full of himself. Everything just goes back to him. Everyone knows that when you have a podcast with Bert Kreischer, he talks about himself nonstop. It doesn't matter how fascinating the guest is. So I think this was like kind of a nice takeaway from it, is that he's trying to not let it be about himself. But of course, what happens? He makes it about himself. He gets in with the inner circle, and all he's doing is like, all right, I'm trying to do all this stuff for the family. I am Bert Kreischer, the comedian. I'm being a present dad, but he's not. All he's doing is manipulating, and he with his master pedophile powers, which was hilarious, the fact that they talk about it that way. And so Bert, the walking contradiction, is great in it. Leanne, played by Arden Mirren, she is very accurate to Leanne's mannerisms, but it's flip-flopped because now she's the asshole about the whole cookie situation. You've got Georgia and Isla. Georgia playing I think I just said it earlier about child actors. This child actor's pretty solid for the role that she was in as Georgia. Pretty good. And Isla, you said it earlier, like, she's so damn funny. And probably, I wonder if she hung out with the real Isla just to kind of get the mannerisms, the sassiness to it. So I thought that was like, the family dynamic is great and perfect. The inner circle of the dad friends, holy shit. Landon Vanderthal, because there's times where you hate him, you think he's a complete asshole, and you're like, that guy's actually kind of cool. Like, he does some good stuff. He's bringing in Bert. He forgave him, I guess, kind of, sort of. But he does that role so well, it kind of goes back and forth, where he's the asshole parent at the beginning, this rich, no good motherfucker, and then he's friends with Bert. And he invites him along, and he embraces Bert Kreischer into this circle of friends. Matthew Del Negro plays Randy Hotchkiss. You like him right at the beginning, you know, like it's something where he's like, yeah, okay, he gives Bert the shot, and then he reintroduces him to the Vanderthals, and so like, okay, here's a good guy, but it's like the typical. I mean, all of them are pretty much garbage bags, right? Like, what type of group of friends has a gynecologist as a friend that sneaks them photos of all the neighborhood wives that go see him? Right? They're all dirtbags. Let's get that 100% clear.
Oh,
In
they're
real life,
100%
all
all in the
dirtbags.
Epstein files.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But he's also a good dad. He's just trying to get his son a real scrotum. That's what. And for anyone who hasn't seen the show and you just turned into this or tuned into this episode, and you just heard me say that this dad is trying to get his kid a scrotum, it's 100% fact. That's exactly in the show. So no need to Google it. Just watch the show if you haven't already. But
Balls.
that's what it is. It's so comical that there's so many different events that are happening in the show, and there's a element of parenthood. There's an element of assholeness and just kind of sheer disregard for human life and manners and everything, but it's still goddamn funny. And then you've got Glenn, who is like the one friend that everyone just shits on, and it's funny because that's real life. That's why it's funny. So I love the inner circle in the cast. And you can't forget about Vanderthal's wife, who is a major See You Next Tuesday. You cannot, like, I would not be even in the same room with that person. And that's, you definitely hate the wife. You kind of like the husband, but he's an asshole too. So I don't know. A lot of different things. Then you also have like the school, was it a guidance counselor? Is that what he was? Pretty
Yeah,
good, pretty solid.
the
I liked him.
psychiatrist.
Yeah, I like him. I really do. And he's a solid character that brings some realism to it, but also at the same time, it's just, I think that's where it plays off. Is like you have a little bit of realism to where he's trying to wake Bert up as to like, hey, you got to do something here, man. You're really messing up. Can you do something better? And then he does, and he's just in too deep. He's in deep with these scumbag friends, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And it doesn't stop. It does not stop.
You read into this a lot more than I did. I got lost on the Leanne and just kind of went along with the
you got
story.
Lost. You got lost on the non-important character, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, when there's something that bugs you, when there's a rock in your shoe, you got to stop for a minute and shake that bitch out.
Okay. Okay. Well, what about anything else? Do you have any other bright spots on the cast or any observations from them?
No, I think that you covered it, right? Like the main inner circle was solid. I think that Bert played Bert, and he did. I think if you compared the acting we saw in The Machine versus the acting we saw here, I'd say it's better. I'd say that he's grown. He took some acting lessons, which is good. We don't miss the self-service that we get into The Machine here. It's the same amount of self-service going on here. A lot of personal hand jobs going on. When he pulls out his Desert Eagle and shoots a pillow in the house and stuff, and wears his fucking LeBron jersey all over the place, like, or his Magic Johnson jersey all over the place.
I was gonna say, let's get it right. Get it right.
I'm like, you're not that cool, Bert. But you know, I mean, there's always opportunity for indulgence with Bert, self-indulgence. So I can't hold it against him. It's like what we expect. Those are a few of those things that just made it off kilter for me as somebody who listens to the podcast and the Bertcast, Two Bears, and just kind of is used to a certain realistic timbre of Bert versus this like inflated, Netflixized Bertie Bert.
It's funny you say that because I feel like it was not inflated. If anything, it was shrunken down as to what Bert's really like. I don't think he went as bananas as much as he could have in this because you had to kind of balance it out. That's where it surprised me, is that the other characters are the ones that are like unrealistic. Like there's no way these people are legit people. You got the daughter, Kirsten Vanderthal, the Vanderthals in general, and basically any parents at that school were the ones that are just like, oh my God, there's people like this. And there are definitely people like that. And that's where it's like, okay, it kind of took me by surprise to where Bert is typically the big, loud one, but he kind of shrunk back a little bit, but he still gets his moments. He still gets his moments with his family, still gets his moments with the inner circle of friends. It's just kind of not overshadowed, but it's balanced because you have these other people that are assholes. Typically, Bert is the asshole. He's the insensitive one. He's the one that'll say the wrong thing, but it's flipped. Now he's still doing that, but you get it dialed up to 11 from all of the rich, stuck up socialites that are in his circle. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I do like that they shit on the rich in this. Like, good job. Nobody likes the rich.
It's so realistic too, because you know that there's people that just buy board seats at schools or whatever it is, and there's scumbags that like they'll be on like a group text chain of sharing really inappropriate things of other people, and yeah, they should be in the Epstein files. But I'm curious what some of the gags were that you actually found entertaining in this.
So the scrotum joke and the realization that dude's little wanger didn't work was funny to me. Like that made me laugh, and the spin and the reaction of Bert in that episode, which I think was episode 2, worked for me. And that got me to watch solid into 3. And then I kind of, when he started being way too chummy, that's where I kind of toddled off. And when he was like ignoring Leanne, and Leanne was kowtowing to this enormous bitch, that took me out of it, because I don't see Leanne as that submissive to another person. She's like country housewife, you know, kind of southern and southern sneaky, if you will. She'd definitely oh honey a bitch like that, or bless your heart her, and not just like feel guilty about nuts. I don't see that from Leanne. I could be completely wrong. Like maybe I just don't know Leanne like that. But I think that there are certain that part of the storyline both I enjoyed, and then Martha'd me out of it a little bit, you know. And there were certain things that I'm like, they missed something that Bert would do. Like if Bert was playing golf with a group of people or got invited to play golf, he would start talking about how great of a natural athlete he is and how he could just do everything. And they showed him playing pickleball, but not tennis, where he has like a fucking rocket serve that they did a thing with him and Tom, and he absolutely nuked Tom. And I'm like, what? Why aren't you using the tennis gag? It's fucking great. Like big fat guy jamming first serves. And I think that took me out of it a little bit too. I'm like, so they're being selective with the gags and not grabbing all of the Bertness. And I think that's where I mean what I mean when I say he's not truly being the Bertie boy that we all know. Like he's holding back a little bit and trying to make, like, it's like they workshopped it and said, oh, we can't put that much Bert in this. They didn't really free Bert. They reined him in. He's an eagle. Let him soar.
Well, I think that's part of the show, is that nothing's resolved. So that's where, okay, you got another season that's going to come out, and then that's where he's freed. So the whole first season is not what you're expecting, because that's not part of the story yet. So I don't know, man. And the funny thing is, when you talked about Leanne, what's the name of the show again? Free Bert, right? So Leanne, I think you're stuck in real life too much, and you're thinking like Leanne is the star. Leanne's not the star in this. No one cares about Leanne being the star in a show called Free Bert. They want Leanne to be in it, or you know, like the caricature or instances or some stories or real life things that happen, sure. But I don't think anyone is, you know, and no disrespect to Leanne. She's great. And every time I always enjoy watching episodes where she's on it with Bert, because it brings some good levity. But this isn't her story. This is not her. She's there to continue to drive on the plot and be one of the people that are suffering because of the situation that Bert got them into. So maybe that will change in the next season. Who knows?
I'm going to disagree with you for 2 reasons. One, Leanne drives Bert's reactions to a lot of things, and they feed off of each other. That's what married couples do. And 2, my wife directly. What?
In real life or the show? Because I'm not talking about real life. I'm not talking about real life.
But
we're doing an episode on the show.
That's what pulled you out. That's what pulled me out. And like when I went to go start watching this, my wife saw the promo and she's like, he replaced his wife. And I'm like, yeah, like people expect, because they're so visible and these stories are using things that happened in roughly, I think that real fans, deep fans, expect that level of alignment. It's like deviating from fucking Captain America.
Okay. So, all right, if you're trying to stick with real life, were you disappointed that Tom Segura wasn't in it? Because
Yes,
I feel
I
like
was.
that's okay.
There was
All
a
right.
balance, right? There was a balance. I was like, when I started watching it, I was disappointed that Tom wasn't represented in some way, but Rob Lowe was in it, which made me laugh. Did not expect when I turned it on to see Rob Lowe, and then just Rob Lowe laughing at him taking his shirt off was the level of silliness that I wanted to carry through the entire show, and it brought it down a little. It sucked in its gut, if you will, for me. Just for me. It doesn't have to be for you. It's for me.
All right, then. So some of the gags that I just thought were still really, really funny overall is like every episode had a ton of them. It was literally like watching a Naked Gun or a Hot Shots, because there was, even though it was grounded more in real life, there was still humor in every single scene. And some of it was serious. Some of it was because of Bert that it was funny. And a lot of it was because of the other people, like the other dads, like Hotchkiss and Vanderthal, but also the kids. They were freaking funny. And it was a great way to kind of break up. Like, if you don't want just Bert making the joke, making it all about him, which a lot of people don't, a lot of people say they hate that. But at the same time, like it has a good balance and a mix of things. And the fact that you have like some people in there, like T-Pain was freaking great. Holy shit. Just him being on a Twitch stream and Bert not realizing that they're live. And it's like, yeah, we've been going for half an hour. It was just funny to me. And the fact that he's a big dumb idiot. He really is. And every scenario that he's in, he tries to be slick and smart about it, and everyone calls him out on their bullshit. Even when he's getting blackmailed by Kirsten Vanderthal, he tries to push it back on her, and it tries to be like the authoritative adult. And she's like, I'm not falling for that shit. Like, it's no big. And so Bert's like, okay, I didn't think you would. And that's where it's funny, because he's kind of a pushover for that. And when you have a strong personality, he will always back down and defer. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, cool. I like this balance of it, because it's a reality check, both from the artistic point of view, but also in real life. It's like, hey, I'm sure a lot of people, even the writers, and even Bert probably was thinking like, yeah, this is kind of nice that like I'm getting taken down a peg. And so he's down for it. And the I can't even say, I want to say bachelor party to Atlanta, but basically the sack party where all the dads go, and just Bert pointing out the ridiculous shit. It's like, do we all need to be here? And there's like this big bust of like a huge dong and nuts right there in the doctor's office. Like, do we really need to be here? Like, well, no, but I mean, yeah, enjoy, like just have fun. And it's just, talk about an irresponsible group of dads, and also just so weird that all of them are going for this kid's scrotal surgery. And it's fine. It's fine because it's so outlandish and it's so crazy. Hey, listeners, viewers, if any of you have been in that situation, please comment below, because I would love to hear this real life stuff, because I know that this stuff doesn't happen. But oh God, I would be so happy if there was a real life scenario like this. So comment.
Yeah, Dan is very interested in all of the people that you invited to your scrotal reconstruction and just how it went. If you want to DM Dan, you could send him pictures. It's okay.
Yeah, Mark, I'll share it with Mark, because he's on a text thread with me, and we always share pictures of scrotums. So we'll just do that.
Batwing.
The goat is always the best. But so we've talked a little bit about, well, I've talked a little bit about it. Mark, why don't you just tell us what Martha do?
I think that I've talked about it a little bit, but the fact that they replaced Leanne in this, not that she could act, but I think that would have made it funnier if they just Leanne in it, not under and just reacting to things. I think it would have been funnier. But again, nothing against the actress. She did a good enough job, but I just did not feel that pure hillbilly Leanne-ness in there. It peeked through every now and then. Like when she was burning the edges of the cookies, just like, I was burn a couple, just the little things. but still, like there's just it missed the nest for me. Overall, I didn't hate this. It just didn't meet my comedian-led sitcom expectations. What about you, Dan? What Martha'd you, other than me, in this episode? Let's talk about things that Martha'd you about Free Bert.
Nothing Martha'd me. The only thing that I would say that was even close to Martha'ing me is that it was not resolved at the end of the series. Or not series, but end of the season. So yeah, that's the only thing. Everything else was highly entertaining. I liked the family dynamic that they had. I love, even my wife, when we were watching it, and when Bert would say like, "Oh, I fucking love you," and the kids would yell it back. Like, we were like, yeah, that's what we want to be as like parents as the kids get older. Like we yell that to the boys when they're in high school and stuff. So it was just a good, fun time. Outlandish, ridiculous, but nothing Martha'd me. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But Mark, before we end this episode, I got a question for you. When it comes to Free Bert, can you do this all day?
This answer hurts. The answer hurts because I can't tell you how many times I've watched The Machine stand-up special. I can't tell you how many times I've watched Secret Time, right? I love Bert Kreischer as a stand-up comedian, but I do not see myself revisiting this regularly. Like, I don't see me coming back to the well on Free Bert. I've got to say, I can't do this all day. And it's not that it's not serviceable. But serviceable is not good enough for my can do this all day. I would guess that we may be split on this decision, but instead of me making assumptions, I'm going to ask you a very similar question. When it comes to Free Bert, Dan, can you do this all?
100% yes. I have done it all day. Like, I think I've watched it 3 times through, and it's just fun. Like, I pick up something new every time, and I laugh at the same parts too. So it's just like, okay, it has a repeat factor. It's rewatchable for sure. And if you like Bert Kreischer humor, you should like it. If you're not fucking hung up on the character that it's not about, you should enjoy this.
Don't be a hater.
I'm not hating. I'm stating the facts that you are hung up on a supporting character, and not even a big supporting character, not even as much screen time as some of the other people. So, but yeah, I could definitely do it all day. It's fun. It's on Netflix, so check it out. And yeah, that's what I believe, and that's what I'm sticking to. When it comes to the overall Bert universe, I would say I like it a hell of a lot more than The Machine. The Machine, I don't even remember if we said that we can do that all day or not. I don't know.
You loved The Machine.
I
you
did.
Hawk to it all over The Machine. You did. You were so into the fight scenes. You loved The Machine.
I liked it. I don't like it as much as this. This is way better. So if there's a scale of that, for sure. And then when you think about like what was that other show that he had on Netflix that came out around the pandemic? The Cabin. I like it better than The Cabin. So I think it's at the top of my Bert movie / TV experience. Although I haven't seen Hurt Bert yet. I think that was on Travel Channel, right? Or whatever it was called. I never saw that, but I would venture to say because it was on the Travel Channel, it probably wasn't as cool and not as Bert-ish that we would all want it to be. So yeah.
Very early 2000s TV.
Yeah.
I watched a few episodes. They just get him to do dumb shit.
2000s TV kind of sucked too, so not gonna lie.
It was some of the best reality TV, though.
Reality, but do you consider that television? I don't know.
Hurt Bert is definitely reality TV.
Well, yeah, but I mean, overall, do you consider reality TV?
Oh, absolutely. You got to have some garbage TV in your life. It just makes you feel better about yourself. Let's be honest.
Too much garbage TV. Like, when you say, like, what's your favorite TV shows? Like, I don't think anyone's saying, like, Bert the Conqueror or anything like that. Like, they might say Survivor. They might say Amazing Race. But, I don't know. Not so much.
I mean, at that time, though, that was different and up. Travel Channel had a crazy good lineup when Bert was doing that stuff. Travel Channel was, I don't even know if Travel Channel still exists. Is it like part of the Plus and Discovery Plus at this point? Getting sold to HBO, eventually getting sold to Netflix? Could Netflix eventually own all of the Bert? Like, is that why they're buying Discovery and Warner? Is that what's going on? They just need all the Bert? Maybe.
I don't know. But that wraps it up for another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the resident Jedi.
Don't forget to tell Dan how wrong he is by liking, subscribing, giving us the comments, telling him how your scrotal reconstruction works, because we want you to be supported and whole. I Can Do This All Day podcast on all of the socials. Go out there and free Bert, y'all.
We'll see you next time, everyone.